property and town property.
Okay. We have hit 6:30, so we're going to call the meeting to order.
Are we recording?
We are recording. We can take attendance here. Again, Amy and Paul are not here. The rest of my commission, Denise, Mary Jo, Michael Foliano, Gardner Capola, Michael Barnes, Jane Marsh, and Michael Miller are in attendance. And again, it is Michael Barnes' turn to be seated for Paul. So that's sort of the business end of it to start with.
All right.
First
Item
matter.
A, public hearing. Do we have anybody here for Bill Hill Road, 3-2 Bill Hill Road?
And we're going to have Jane read the call.
Yep, got the legal notice here. Zoning Commission of the Town of Old Lyme will hold a public hearing at a regular meeting on Monday, September 8th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. at Memorial Town Hall in the American Legion Room, 52 Lime Street, Old Lyme, Connecticut, to consider and hear comments on the following. 3-2 Bill Hill Road, special permit application to convert garage into an accessory dwelling unit. Applicant Honey U. Darby. At this hearing, interested parties may be heard and written communications received. Copies of the application are in the Land Use Office, 52 Lime Street, Old Lyme, Connecticut. And this was dated 31st day of August 2025. We have an exhibit in terms of a special permit application. There's an Exhibit B, drawings, Exhibit C, Ledgelight Health District response, I guess. Exhibit D is the abutters list. And Exhibit E, email to applicants 3 COM.
The certificates of mailing, we haven't gotten those back
Certificates
yet.
of mailing and additional abutters in line.
Okay.
And the legal notice, that's Exhibit F.
Okay. And so we're going to have one new exhibit starting tonight, which is the certificate of mailing.
Okay,
Okay.
that's Exhibit G. Okay, carry on.
And we have folks here for the applicant.
Yes.
If you
What's
just
going
wanna-
on? You have the floor.
Okay, just state your names because we're recording here. We've got to get your names for the record. Okay.
I'm Elizabeth Barrera from Soundchoice Construction.
And I'm Oscar Barrera, Sounders Construction.
Okay.
We're the
General contractors and
contractor
project
and project.
managers for this.
Okay. So tell us about your application.
So the property at 3-2 Bill Hill Road has a 5,000 square foot main dwelling unit and then a 1,500 square foot garage that previously was used as living space. Was not zoned for that, so we are going through the correct channels. We're requesting to convert this into, because the town regulation is not more than 800 square feet for an apartment. It'll be split into just shy of 800 square feet for a one-bedroom apartment that can house this room, as I'd like to see. And then a 775 square foot studio/office. So the homeowner, Honey Darby, can't be here today. This is school night. She lives down in New York with her family and is looking for a place for her adult children to come and stay when they're out of the city. So having
for them and their children.
So
The
the main
garage
house.
that's going to be converted would be for their adult children to come visit them
when they're
when the
staying
house
in the
is
main
finished.
house. For studio and office space, her oldest daughter is a ceramics artist. So having a space where she can get out of the city and work on things is something that we're looking for.
Okay. Per the regs, as they mentioned, no more than 800 square feet can be used for an accessory apartment, which is why it got divided up the way it did. I did work with the applicants really extensively to try and figure out how to do this in a way that would be allowable under our zoning regulations. The building does predate 1997, so it is eligible to be considered for a special permit. It is in these right zone to be considered for a special permit. But again, as you're aware, accessory dwelling units, at least at the moment, Old Lyme require special permit approval, which is why we're hearing from the applicant this evening.
Now, the whole property has been in disrepair for probably the last 20-some years. Not much has been done to it. We're looking to pretty much bring it up to its former glory and maybe a little bit better, hopefully, with the correct permits and applications for everything. So actually the building inspector stopped by we had him come over for rough and inspections of plumbing, and he was very happy to see the work that was being done and the fact that we're actually doing work to the property. He had been there before in the past.
I do have pictures of the garage as it currently is, and some renderings of what it will look like. From the outside, not much
That's-
difference other than nicer.
Being our secretary, she has to mark them as exhibits, but
So these will all be a collection called Exhibit H.
There you go.
Pass them around.
and you're not planning to change the footprint of either building, it's all
The
the same.
footprint will stay as is on both buildings.
We don't have a site plan per se, but you do need 2 dedicated parking spaces that are basically gonna be for this unit, those gonna be available, we can make that a condition of
Yes.
approval.
Yeah, the house actually, each dwelling has its own driveway as it is right now.
Okay.
So there will be access to each one separately. Although they're really not gonna be used
Can
separately.
I ask why are there 2 different kitchens? Am I missing out something?
So the idea was to have space that could be separated. One of the requirements for the apartment was that the kitchen has to exist within the square footage of the apartments, which is a little bit small. But then if somebody wanted to be, I think, working elsewhere, they would split the space. Not for living space, for working space versus people who are actually living in there.
I mean, the
So-
question for the commission, and again, it was raised earlier with Michael Foliano talked to me about last week. They are showing the second space in there as a ceramics studio. But obviously it has many of the characteristics of a dwelling unit. So the commission has to evaluate whether they believe this is sufficiently differentiated from a dwelling unit, or whether they would like to have this space left in an unfinished condition, so that it's clear that this is not to be used as a dwelling unit.
And only one accessory apartment is allowed.
Only one accessory apartment is allowed by regulation. So that's it. We got one accessory apartment, no more than 800 square feet. Again, I went around with the applicant for some period of time trying to figure out what the other alternatives were. And sort of home occupation was about as good as we were going to get there. So that's what they're proposing. But again, it does have many of the features that look like an accessory apartment.
Can you
A
condition it?
stove. A stove.
Well, look, I'm not here to defend the
Yeah, so can
application.
you condition it to where the permit says that, obviously you're only allowed one, but like explicitly comment that there's not allowed to be.
Well, absolutely.
used for Airbnb or anything
I mean,
like
that's
that.
obviously in the regs already, but if you want to make it clear in your approval that this is to be used,
Just so that way, I'm not saying necessarily kitchen part elements, but I understand the studio with a space to be used.
yeah, I guess you can condition it however you want to condition it. It's a special permit, you have a very large amount of latitude. Again, the challenge is going to be, as it is always with these sorts of things, once it's there, I can't easily go in without a search warrant. So what they do inside after I walk away, don't know. On the other hand, the standard rule in zoning enforcement for commissions is you can't assume a violation. So you can't assume that they're going to break the rules. Okay, you have to take them essentially, for what they're saying. But again, this is a special permit. If you don't believe that as configured, this is a proper approval, then feel free to modify it however you think it needs to be modified.
Well, it's
Is the
always
only
been,
way into the studio kitchenette on the diagram, the left-hand side, is that the only way into it?
Yeah, each has its own access.
Or you can get in from the inside.
Are they interconnected?
They're not interconnected.
So it's where it says studio entrance and then studio, the kitchenette is, it's like a wall with a dotted line. What is that dotted line for? Is that,
Oh, so that's the entrance just
That's
between
the
these
entrance
two.
you did
So that's a
mention.
solid wall between, that would be the apartment space.
these are doors or something.
So that would just be an opening.
Okay.
not even sliders, just an opening.
Nothing, that means nothing. I
I just wanna make sure there's nothing there, and then that's the only way in from, and that's an outdoor, on the left-hand side that goes to the outside.
Yes,
Just to clarify, there's no intention in any way of trying to make these two separate apartments for people to come in and have two separate apartments in any way.
Yeah, I think
Because there's no bathroom in this one, right?
I think the challenge is that the definition of a dwelling unit is not dependent on it being occupied. It's the presence of a kitchen, a bathroom,
Stove.
and
A
cooking
stove.
facility, and the stove. If it has cooking facilities, sanitation,
just stove.
and an area suitable for sleeping, it's
It's the
it's a
stove.
dwelling unit.
Where is the bathroom in this diagram?
The bathroom's
That's okay, I see her.
I
Yeah.
think
And so we
Is
also
it
try
shallow?
to ensure that it doesn't look as if there's any sort of bedroom space. There's no expectation of privacy.
But that doesn't
Is
matter.
that a shower?
No, that's a washer.
That doesn't matter though, because the office can be a bedroom, even the kitchenette. It's the existence of the cooking facilities that make it a dwelling
The
unit.
dwelling unit.
yeah.
That's the definition.
Okay.
So is there a possibility that you don't
Remove
have
the
a
kitchen.
stove?
Yeah.
Well, no, okay. But what I look for when I consider accessory dwelling units, just so the commission's aware and the applicant is aware, full-size oven and full-size refrigerator. So if you can have basically something that is a microwave and a not full-size refrigerator, that would, in my zoning enforcement terms, change it out of being a kitchen into something that would be much more acceptable for zoning enforcement standards. So again, I think, Jane, you're correct. The full-size stove, if there's a full-size refrigerator, both of those things are characteristics that I traditionally consider as part of an accessory dwelling unit. So,
Yeah, our regs rated a set of rooms which include a kitchen and a bathroom that is accessory to a single detached dwelling unit. We changed the requirements to 782. which
yeah,
is-
we don't need to define kitchen. So I have,
The
again,
building code does though.
It does.
yeah, so but again, that's why the stove and the full-size refrigerator have been the characteristics that have traditionally, even before I got here, been used to evaluate whether it was an ADU or not. So, if they take out, so I've had this elsewhere, that if they take out the stove and they put in a less than full-size refrigerator, we have traditionally said that's a kitchenette. It doesn't qualify as being a full-size kitchen, and therefore that's acceptable. Whether that's how you want to interpret your own regs, I will leave that to you guys, but that is how it has been done in the past.
That's a practice, but I didn't see that anywhere in any of the regulations. that
It's not. It
stipulation
is
that it was a full
clearly
size.
not in the regulations spelled out anywhere. That's just been common practice of how we've done it, okay?
So my concern is, 15 years down the road when the property passes hands, this could either be two bedroom, two units here.
Michael, I understand that, and that's exactly why your regs require a special permit here, right? That's because they want you guys to be able to evaluate it and come up with whatever conditions of approval or denial you think are appropriate here. This is entirely a commission call as to what they want to see here, okay?
So, and the only kind of office use that can happen here is a customary home occupation too, right? In a residential area.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are seeking, and you would be granting zoning approval for home occupation for the other half of that site, yes.
Yeah, but it's not anybody whose home is here because it's all separate.
That is entirely true as well. But home
So-
occupation, traditionally, the home occupation has to be for someone who lives in the dwelling. That is true.
Yeah.
But again, that's why we're here looking at this. But could someone come here later for some other purpose and consider it a home occupation? Yes. If you're saying, based on the evidence you have in front of you, this is not a real home occupation, this is for a visitor, then that weighs into your evaluation of what you're allowed to do here. Okay?
Well, and it would suggest that either these two units be combined in one, and that the person living here is doing the home occupation, or the main house is doing the home occupation there.
Well, and again, you're being told that the ADU is not for full-time habitation. The ADU is just for,
That I can't do anything about.
No,
Now I'm
I-
talking about the customary home occupation,
I
meaning
understand all
to
of
have a home, and it doesn't have a home. So it seems problematic to approve it the way it is because it says we are approving both aspects of it. A potential studio and office that is not by a homeowner.
I guess my question would be regarding what you were talking about, Jane. Like similar to the gentleman's studio over here, the Lion Mart Academy bought that studio. Would that be considered a home
Lion
occupation?
Academy.
Yeah, we were just here last week or last month about that application. About the Lion Art Academy that bought the building next door. That
Right, that's part of their site
It's a
plan.
different zone.
Yeah.
They have a different zone, they're in a different zone.
Yeah, but I guess this was asking,
And
is
it
it,
was
or
already
was that
exist-
considered in an office?
It's an
It's not
existing thing too. It's been in existence for a very, very long time.
That's I guess what I was trying to get at. Is there any freestanding people like garages in town that already have office space detached from the dwelling? You're
Oh,
saying,
sure, I mean, there's plenty of people that have home occupations.
but because
that-
this one has a dwelling attached to it, that's
No,
what you're talking
I
about.
guess what she's saying is that.
This
the-
one could have no home attached to it.
Correct. But right now it
must have a
does.
home. Well, no, it doesn't.
Well, I guess, as I understand Jane's concerns, I mean, she's certainly better able to explain them than I can, but as I've heard it, she indicated that a home occupation is for someone who lives in full-time, one or the other of these units. And what we're being told is, this is a studio space from someone who will come from New York to only use it as a very periodic thing. And therefore, it is not really a home occupation, it is something on the sort of a vacation workspace. That is, as I understand Jane's concern.
Okay, I can understand that. I guess my concern is what's to say that that person at any point in time chooses to reside here permanently. I think that just because they come back and forth shouldn't change the fact of the use of the office space, whether it's, if you're allowed that space, I don't think there's any determining factor that says you can only live in town for 2 months or 2 weeks. I think it's,
But they don't have to live in town at all. It's totally separate. There's nothing that makes the person who uses this unit, because they've got it separated, it doesn't have to live in any, it can live any place.
So if I can interject.
And
Yeah,
we
it's
can't
your
do it.
application.
So when we had originally requested the permit, we had wanted to use the whole thing as living space. I mean, ideally, it would have been a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1
Big living room.
big living room space, which is what it had been used for previously. But the town regulations only allow for 800 square feet, regardless of the size of the building as it exists. We're trying to work within what's allowed by the town versus what's going to work for the family.
When you say it was used that way before, when was it used that way before?
Prior owner or the owner before?
So the prior owner actually had it that way, and then
Yeah.
this repairs led to a massive leak in the roof, which caved in the roof in the garage, and they ended up removing all the moldy sheetrock that was in there.
But there was a whole kitchen.
yeah, but
back
if
there.
it's still, does the infrastructure still exist the way it sits previously?
There's still plumbing.
You can
to
see
go
the
out.
plumbing and where the flooring
So
was.
does that create any opportunity for just a pre-existing non-conforming?
If they can demonstrate that the use was never abandoned,
Correct.
then at that point, they can continue to use it as a separate dwelling. But they have to demonstrate that it was, that basically, there's been no sort of intervening use of that site that permanently abandoned that use as a dwelling.
Just lack of use due to conditions.
Lack of use is not enough.
Exactly, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. So that's not enough. And even if the conditions deteriorate, unless it's condemned or completely removed, it still stands.
Again,
Wouldn't it match more closely their desired use to let them give you that evidence?
absolutely, if they can provide that evidence,
Then it can be all one.
then we can make it all one again. And if we can demonstrate that it was never abandoned,
You hearing?
okay?
Because chances are there's a health card, a building file. There's got to be something. If I don't know when this was built. When was this built?
It was built in 73.
So then there's definitely something on
We
it.
have pictures of the existing, there were closets, there was carpet.
Yeah, so that's
But-
all evidence for you
They
that you
did
support
come
your
here,
description.
and I requested everything they had, and there really wasn't much as far as like no blueprints.
Okay,
very
I
little
guess,
express
yeah,
septic.
my only
Yeah,
issue with that, Michael, is it had to have been a legal non-conforming
Correct.
use. And from the testimony we've heard so far, is that they didn't put it in originally legally. So the question becomes, and again, maybe that we can try and look at that evidence as to whether at the time that it went in, it could have been permitted at that time. so that it would be considered a legal non-conforming use. And that may take a little bit more research.
So I don't know if it was put in illegally or if it wasn't. I don't know how it worked back in the 70s, but all the plumbing, everything that's there wasn't cut and retrofitted. It has been there since it was built.
Okay, well then, again,
Yeah.
the as you're probably hearing from here, the next step forward, and we can continue this hearing if you want us to, just in case, but the next step forward is to go back and do the research about whether it was put in legally in the 70s, and if we can demonstrate that it was never abandoned between the time it was put in and the present day. If you can demonstrate both of those two things, then we can reapprove it as a full-sized unit. Okay? So that's the, again, if you want to go that route, I think what you might want to do is, while we give you time to do that, we can continue this public hearing until next month, and then between now and next month, if you can provide the evidence of continuous use and legal installation, we can then withdraw the case and you can just go forward on the basis of converting the entire site.
Now, the original photo, has a pretty big garage door on it. Do you really think it was used as a residence?
Well, that's why it's going to be their burden to demonstrate that. And again, if they can't, they can't.
The
So-
field card. Look at the 1970s. They got to have them in the vault. 1970s, 1980s field cards might have significant data you might be able to pull off of that might have not made its way to the current computerized assessor's cards.
I mean, if they can't demonstrate it, then they're no worse off than they are right now, right? I mean,
So if they can't demonstrate it, and my gut says they can't based on the big garage
Only
there.
some of it was a garage, maybe
Well-
the rest of it
Well,
was as well.
Yeah, okay,
But
but
then
that's-
that limits,
Yeah.
and then, so they can't do that, and we're stuck, not stuck, but we come back to this plan. If they did away with the whole kitchen aspect of it.
that's up to you folks. I mean, if you did away with the
It seems to
kitchen,
me that would make it pass if they did away with the kitchen. Made it an office and a studio
then-
section.
Then you still have this customary home occupation that doesn't
Well,
have a
but
home.
Does it have to be an office? Can't it just be
it can just be
an art?
it can just be an open space at that point.
Right.
They don't have to define what it is.
Well,
I mean, I think the idea of defining it as an office creates that problem, but if you just basically say they're gonna use it as a potting shed, or
Well,
as a tackle room.
well,
No,
no,
so-
what they can say is simply they're using it as a playroom.
Yeah.
They're using it as a-
It can be used, so you use the term office when you submitted it, you need to say it's something else and not have a kitchen in there.
Yeah, it could be a garage. Stuff.
Okay, but again, the first thing we're going to try
It
and
could be
do
a garage.
Yeah, you just have an accordion door.
Yeah, the first thing we're going to do is see whether we can get you enough evidence of legal non-conforming use. But if you can't, then we'll probably see you next month to see what we can do on Plan B. Okay?
Can we ask a couple other questions?
By all means,
While
they're
we're here.
Two questions about the site. So one is, based on GIS, it looks like it's inside of 20 feet setback from the abutting property line. And it also looks like it's less than 20 feet from a charted wetland.
Yes, but they're not changing, the building's pre-existing non-conforming. So, I mean, ultimately, you wouldn't be able to put it there now, but as they testified, they're not doing anything exterior to the site. So wetlands doesn't really care because there's no exterior changes. And anything more than 3 years on the site there, zoning doesn't have any authority to say they can't keep it there. And I'm guessing when it went in, it was legally put in, or even if it wasn't, again, it's been 50 years now. So on that standpoint, there's not much we're going to do about it. So as long as they're not changing the exterior configuration in any way, shape, or form, they're allowed to continue the pre-existing non-conforming use of that site.
Would the setback affect if they want the accessory dwelling unit route?
No.
Yeah, it's within the footprint of the existing setback that's already existing.
I mean, traditionally, yes, you have to put it in a conforming location. But again, if this is a pre-existing non-conforming thing, then we're kind of are where we are. Okay.
Is there?
Oh,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. You. Go ahead.
thank you. I had some questions on the septic work that I just couldn't understand from what you presented. So they did some test pits
Yes.
by the existing buildings, but not by the garage building, is that correct?
No, they're good.
No, they did.
All right, so that's part of my confusion with this. On the application we received from the town, it had like 4 parcels on the property, and there was a little red circle around, which I assumed is the garage, right? That you've already started working in or something, right up there.
That is the garage, yeah.
That's where you're working. That's what we're talking about.
That is
tonight?
what we're talking about, yeah.
Okay. And have you already started working on this?
No. We have new plans for a roof, because the roof is caving in. That needs to be done regardless of what
Yeah.
happens inside of the building.
Yeah, I gave them permission to fix the roof to prevent further
Okay,
damage on the
thank
inside.
you. That was good to hear.
But-
So what you sent here, you showed us the test pits on these other buildings, but doesn't show the garage.
The garage is the block
That's
right
the
there.
Yeah,
That is
so you have the one at the bottom is the pool, there's a pool on the
Yeah.
property.
Yeah.
Then you have the house, and then the one on the top is the garage.
Okay, so I thought this looked like, I know it's hard to see on this lovely
Yeah,
photo,
let me move it
but
around.
it looked like those 3 buildings were in alignment. That was a 4th building. So there really is only 3? Oh,
So
sorry.
It's not even
So
like
this is the
two.
pool, that's the building,
Okay.
and that's the garage right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looked different to me.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very helpful. So you've got these test pits because you're going to be,
Because if it's approved as the accessory dwelling unit, it has to have its own septic.
So
Even
you're
though when it was put in, it was piped out to the existing
So
septic.
everything goes into the same septic,
okay,
which today, if we get approved, not today, but
yeah.
by today's code, you require a separate septic system for a separate dwelling.
Okay, and it looked like, if I read the Ledgelight information, there were some things that needed additional testing?
No, they did the perk test. They did the pit, and then she came out the day after and
It's
did a
on
perk
here.
test.
Yes for everything? Is that
No,
what that
yes,
means?
it's just yes for here, but they put the yes inside of what they want.
Does
This
it
is just a
does it
standard
currently
form.
have its own separate
says
metered electrical, or
What
is it?
season monitoring?
No, it's all the
like
same. It's
retest
all the
during
same.
Is
what
that the
season?
intention? Is to keep
That's
it the
if
same?
they
It
put
is.
something in here.
So one service
So-
for the property.
This is a checklist,
It's a big
and then
service,
they
it's
say
400,
what
so
needs to
yeah.
happen.
But yeah.
No, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, no,
Gotcha.
it's big enough to do everything, but they also have no intention of
Okay.
separating it into another property.
So on the setback, I'm looking at 7821G.
Yeah, I know what you're looking at.
So no accessory apartment shall be created or allowed in a dwelling or accessory building which does not conform to all applicable setback and
Yeah.
coverage requirements. Is there
Yeah.
a pre-existing waiver from that?
No, there is not. I could send them to the ZBA for that requirement. In fact, I have a matter in front of ZBA in 2 weeks for exactly that. It just seemed like a little, it seems unnecessary under the circumstances, but if you want, I will hold them to that and send them to ZBA for it.
I just want to know what the,
No, you're right that traditionally you can't do something in that location. Again, given the fact that there's no external changes, and again, this is a 50-something-year-old structure. I didn't see the issue with that. However, technically you are correct that if we hold them to that standard, I have to send them to ZBA for an approval.
but only if they go to the accessory apartment.
Only if they go to the
Not if
accessory.
Not if they
yes.
go for
If pre-existing
restoring
non-conforming,
the original.
that's true. Okay.
When you got that existing building, that's such a protected use as the non-conforming uses are highly protected.
Yes, but again, the
permit.
question will be, did it go in legally as a residential use when it went in? And we're gonna have to do the research on what that's gonna look like. If they can demonstrate that, then all of this is unnecessary. If they can't, then we're gonna have to figure out sort of plan B, okay?
Okay, I just have a couple of questions in terms of, because I don't think some of this, the application is right. I looked up the coastal boundary and, or I should say the gateway, and I don't think you're within the gateway zone. And you checked that you were in the gateway zone?
No, that's really not the gateway.
Okay. So that's why I'm wondering if this is checked wrong.
Because it says
Because it says site is It doesn't, and then there's another box that says is not, and you check the is box.
Oh,
You've
it should
checked
be
it for the
is box.
coastal boundary, the gateway, flood hazard zone, and the water resource district, and I'm thinking that these should all,
All
It's like
of
a
those
mile
are,
from the water.
so I just thinking let's clean up the application, because you don't want someone saying, well, why didn't you require, something? We should be require, because otherwise you have to require a review based on, and I think it's just a matter of the way the form was that was
Yeah,
wrong.
the checkbox is sitting between is and is not.
I know. It's like I read
Should
it
be up
about
and
5
down.
times to say, am I missing this? But I think we should make sure that application gets in the right way.
okay, we will make sure that they give me an amended
If I-
sheet that
If I
shows.
check the format, I'm like, yep, this
No,
shouldn't
they're
be.
clearly
yeah,
not
yeah.
in any of those areas there,
Yeah.
so we will just make sure that the application reads correctly.
What in general, for our edification, if there's parts of the application that are blank, like doesn't list the architect or something, what does the commission have to say about that? And what do you typically do in your past? Have you required that? 'Cause
You don't necessarily have to have an architect, so if they don't have an architect, they don't have an architect. I mean, if there's
So it's
material
optional?
omission,
Then A,
yeah.
yeah.
If there's a
Whether
material
it's-
omission, then yes, we definitely fill it in. But if it's a question of, do they have an architect? Well, if they don't, then it's just left blank, and that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not defective if they don't, if you haven't hired an architect, don't list your non-existent architect. I mean,
So maybe it should say not decided or
Well,
pending or
right.
something.
Or, yeah,
Or not applicable.
we can amend the reg to just
It might
leave the
be
box
applicable.
for,
Don't put
Yeah.
not applicable.
Well, I'm saying like he just said, if there's no architect, there's no architect. So
We're not modifying any of the aesthetics of the house itself. We are working with a structural engineer to make sure that everything is sound as it was, because like I said, there's no blueprints of the house. We've tried to get them. We've tried to get a contact of the original architect who was the
Well, I think this is
builder.
just more a question for me as a member, when we get applications, is it one size fits all, or are there some things that aren't applicable?
But
as
what I
that was-
think
And I'm
we-
not sure, that's why I'm asking,
yeah.
and that's how
What
I learned.
what I may do is I may just put up top list of experts, sort of put check boxes there, and they can check the boxes of the experts they have and then fill underneath what they've got. That way it'll be clear that if you check the box for architect, you'll fill out the architect. If you don't check the box for architect, then there's not gonna be anything there. So I will work with Craig to amend our form to just have a list up top of the possible experts.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, that'd be
it's a good
good.
question.
Okay.
And just quickly, so you're putting up the roof, so you're gonna be, the walls are solid and you don't have to, so you're not taking down anything, you basically, I mean, you're gonna, obviously, you've got the
has been
inside or
there was
whatever.
a portion of a wall where the roof caved in
Mm-hmm,
that had been repaired.
oh, it has been repaired,
It had not been repaired to my standards, so we're gonna repair it
okay,
correctly.
okay.
But the structure and I'd say 95% of the walls are fine.
Okay. And so, and then, are you going to be doing any landscaping, grading, anything on the outside of the building? And I'm asking that from that.
Landscaping might be like
Yeah.
planting grass and maybe
Okay.
doing a couple sidewalks, but nothing, like we're not looking to pour big pads or anything.
Because right now, it's, in terms of our application, you're not saying that you have to go to the wetlands. There's wetlands very close proximity, so I was just seeing if there was anything that would trigger that we would need to be aware of. Because they need to see it as,
Where are you seeing wetlands?
It's actually right behind the garage.
yeah, right.
Like
yeah.
on top
Of all the
on
places,
top
of all the
garage,
places
yeah.
on the site, it's right there. So,
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I see it.
so just wanted to make
You walk-
sure
when you
that,
walk closer to the property line, you can see.
Yeah.
The neighbor actually has a pond on the other side. We used to be the brother of the
Mhm.
original architects.
and you're not looking to do anything within that
Maybe
100
the
feet
brother
of
house.
that.
No, we asked. We're not looking to do anything, just mow the grass.
Exterior lighting, any kind?
So there's existing lighting as it is right now on the main house is a big kind of privacy wall around the pool area that has lighting on top of it, and then there's solid lightings around the main building.
But you're not gonna put any on this building.
Well, we're gonna do soffit lights around basically like where the entrances are, but nothing like not blowing to the neighbors like straight down to the ground.
So you don't see any lighting on this plan. Is there a plan that shows the lighting?
For exterior lighting?
Yeah.
I mean, by code, you need a light by every entrance door.
Yeah, but we don't, there's nothing that we have to
You
approve.
didn't provide a site plan, so she's saying that she knows where the lighting might be, so if you can just show where the lighting would be, that'd be.
And it has to be dark. It's because your property's pretty close to the neighbor.
I would reach out to anybody that you could find on the neighbors. Like, just for example, on an application I was part of at one time, I found an 88-year-old lady who owned our property 70 years ago to get a sworn statement, affidavit, like contesting to the things that existed, and I was able to get back a lot of pre-existing uses
So
because
the
of that.
neighbor, like I said, the neighbor next door is brother of the original builder.
I'm knocking on his door when I leave here.
He's an older gentleman, but he actually stopped by. I didn't get to see him. One of my guys met him, but I could knock on the door and certainly asked to see what was originally there and see if he has any plans or prints or which he might. I know he did a very similar building in his house that he never finished. So like he has a similar house to this one. Like he was gonna make a glass house that he never actually got to build it the way he wanted. So he might have some plans. I can ask him.
When you're finished, I'm not saying you will have to be, but when you are finished, you should make a motion to continue the hearing to the next meeting, okay?
Any other questions from the commissioners?
No.
And anybody else, from the public? Make a motion to continue the public,
Wait,
Can I'm not.
Oh, I see.
Can I, just a brief comment,
Just gonna give you a name.
my name's Bob Wallace, it's Wallis. We live on 55-1 Saunders Hollow. We are sort of connected in a strange way. We've lived here for 12 years. I'm a physician scientist, I'm not an architect, I'm not and we actually looked at this house, this was 12 years ago.
It's been for
15 years ago. It's a remarkable house. And we ended up deciding not to purchase it because it was in disrepair even back then. You can almost see that house through the trees from ours. We're on the other side of the wetland. And our house was built by the same architect.
Okay.
And it has the same sort of wonderful, quirky things about it. Not a flat roof, fortunately. I'm totally in favor of the idea of this separate apartment. I really would like it. It would be a strength to the community to have that building restored. It really is wonderful, or it could be wonderful.
It's a very unique house,
Yes,
for sure.
yes.
My only concern is that.
your name?
My name is Johnny Marks, and I am married to Bob Wallace, and we live at 55-1 Saunders Hollow. My only concern is I would really not want it to be rented out in a short-term rental situation, Airbnb, and I know Old Lyme doesn't have any regulations pertaining to that. I'd love to see that for other than for the beach communities, which of course people do short-term rentals, but for residential areas. Because we live next to an absentee owner Airbnb, and no matter how responsible the owners are, the guests do not necessarily follow the rules, and it makes it hard on the neighbors. So I know you can't give me any assurances about that. So they're not going to live in the main house, and the parents
They will.
they're not going to live full time in the main house. They're still going to live in New York, and this is
So then the house in
main
New York, they're gonna keep their own businesses in New York.
Yeah.
They're gonna spend probably all summer
So this is the,
So that's-
this is the second home.
Yeah, but I wouldn't even call it a summer home. It's,
Get away from the city.
yeah, unless they have to, that they have, like I said, like we mentioned before, the whole purpose of this meeting is for the second dwelling, which is
Yeah,
for their
no,
adult children.
I get that.
Who are
That's-
actually
that-
starting to take over the businesses and run them, so they don't need to be in the city. He works from home. He's in the video game industry, and she owns a couple tea rooms and a vintage store. The kids are starting to take over the businesses, or not take over, but be able to run it, so they don't need to be in the city every day to run the business. So they're getting this to kind of be able to come away from the city, and being so close, they can be here through the week. If they have to go in for a day and come back, that's feasible.
yeah.
But other than that, I can't. I'm just trying to fill you in with what their goal is for the house.
Okay, you just don't know. I also want to second my husband's family. We loved that house. It's just a gorgeous house. And to have it renovated and fixed.
We're actually trying to open up the spaces. We're
Really?
opening up the spaces in front of the fireplace because they were in a hallway, like the second side of the
Yeah, and
fireplace.
someone enclosed what previously had been an open pit.
Not to
That-
I'm
interrupt your
sorry,
discussion.
never mind.
I'm trying to.
I'm sorry.
It's wonderful.
It's not part of the there are no more comments. Take a motion to continue this public meeting till the next regular meeting of October 14th.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Put it back in. I'm gonna dump that.
Oh, yeah. I have theirs, that's mine.
You don't have to stay the rest of the meeting.
No, no.
Thanks everyone. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for coming in.
And if you guys have heard loud for a couple of days, they're catching in the break, but we're almost done.
Right.
Like, I'm still recording, so I'm gonna ask that you.
Yeah.
And then all this, James, you want all this stuff too? You want all this?
I'll put everything in.
Yeah.
I'll get back to your first page here. The exhibit.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, I'll have Craig work to put it back together tomorrow. Okay. We don't have any old business. The chair update, I think, is gonna have to get passed, because,
We're gonna pass that.
okay. I don't really have any other correspondence and announcements for folks, so the next thing on the agenda here would be adoption of dates for the regular meetings for next year. On the table in front of you are those dates, if you wanna pass them around.
I'm fine with all of them.
That said, you, as acting chair, you're gonna need to sign if we adopt it, so don't go too far.
Do you need a motion for this?
Yes, I'm gonna need a motion to approve the meeting dates so we can file them with the town clerk's office. And then if that's the case, I'm gonna have Michael sign as acting chair that we've approved these meeting dates for next year.
And this
Has
is
everybody
still,
had a chance to take a look at these dates?
it's still the second Monday?
It should be the second Monday unless that's a legal holiday.
Yeah.
How about Wednesday? On October.
Not for you. Take a motion to approve the regular meeting dates as set forth in the letter that was handed to us.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Chairman.
So now we go to approval of minutes.
I would like to note that from the minutes from the last meeting, it suggests that Eric and I are gonna come up with this communications thing on our own and just publish it. And I'd like the minutes to reflect that the intent actually is that after I get it lined up with Eric and we're scheduled to meet later this week, it will go back to you guys. Eric will send it back out to you guys because I wanna make sure we're all in agreement. So, the minutes should reflect the intent to coordinate and collaborate within the commission, not
Okay.
And I remember that being
Yeah.
discussed.
Thank you.
So can I ask for a motion to approve, well, we have two separate minutes. We have the June 14th minutes and the August 19th minutes. So you want to handle those separately or
Yeah,
together?
separately, is it one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Sorry
motion
about
approved
that.
is July
Yep.
14th.
July 14th, I'm sorry, July 14th minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Who's my motion
Second.
from? Oh, Mike.
Who's seconding that?
Denise said she seconded it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so then we go to the August 19th, and I'm gonna have it as amended. Okay,
Make a motion to amend the August 19th, 2025 minutes.
Second.
And Eric, you have the, what to amend to?
Huh?
You have, what's
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't physically go back and amend them, what
No,
you
but
do
you
is you
make-
put in
But you
our,
make the notes.
yeah, I'm taking notes so that we can go back and indicate how the minutes should be reflected as being amended.
That's if you're taking notes. All in favor?
Okay?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. New business, we have a new application in here for the country club, who are sitting behind you folks. I think that's this one here.
Yep.
Okay. You guys approved their application for the new building. You set an express condition of no blasting. They have now come back and said that they really have to do blasting and are submitting a proposal to amend their earlier application. So we need to receive it for the public hearing. They are here tonight to give you sort of a brief overview of what they're coming back to talk to you about.
Might as well introduce all four of us. I'll go first. Matt Glazer with Newfield Construction. We're the construction manager hired by the Old Country Club.
I'm Mike Odd, I'm civil engineer and land surveyor for this project. Mike Iwanski, general manager at Land Country Club. Greg Mucci, architect.
So it was brought to our attention as a construction manager that the blasting was part of the for previous application from April that we couldn't blast, that we had to do drilling and hammering of the existing ledge. There are a few areas out there that we're looking to do. There's an addition going off the back of the country club over extending the kitchen, as well as doing an under deck cart storage. And then up near Johnny Cake Road, there's areas where we'll have to blast, where we level out the entrance from Johnny Cake Road onto the property, as well as when we take down the existing cart barn and create a new parking lot up by the pool, which is adjacent to the existing graveyard that's up there. I had two different blasting companies come out and walk the property with me, and they also do drilling and lead removal as well. And they looked at it and they saw no reason why we shouldn't be able to blast them there safely. They felt it would be less disturbing to the actual neighbors, because if we're doing drilling and hole ramming constantly, they don't even give you a proposal to give, okay, this is your cost. It's a daily rate, and depending on how hard the rock is, we could be out there drilling and hammering daily, nonstop all day long for days on end. Whereas blasting is less invasive. They drill, they blast, it's quick, set off, and we move the rock, For the hearing, as long as we go to the hearing a month from now, I'll be bringing in, his name is Rick Hawley from Connecticut Explosives Companies. I did bring his resume for everybody here, and he's going to give a 15-20 minute presentation on blasting and the benefits of blasting. And for the country club, per our estimates, it's going to be cheaper for us to blast than it is to actually do the rock removal. And I have been dealing, my company, Newfield Construction, we're building the Old Lyme Emergency Operations Center in town, across from Rogers Lake. So I've been dealing with Dave Robert as a fire marshal on a daily basis at this point. So I've had these discussions with Dave. I realize it's not his decision, but he's informed me that over at Mile Creek School right now, they've run into ledge and they've been out there hole ramming and drilling and causing quite a bit of disturbance. So he thought it was a decent idea to bring this back to everybody's attention as well.
Thank you.
We
So
need
what, do we need to accept this?
and set a public hearing for October 14th.
Second.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay, there we go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. ZEO report violations update.
You all set with us?
We're all set.
We're all set.
All right, would you like the resume? This is 4 copies.
we're gonna take that for our file here, and we'll make sure that gets sent out to the commission members between our next meeting. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, question, oh, no, they left. Can I ask a question?
Well,
Is it allowed?
well,
Are you gonna notify the neighbors if this? if
Yeah, it's
this-
part of the application,
Okay.
it says that we have to notify.
well, at the time of the blasting, I guess is what you
That's
said.
what I mean.
So
He
you
said-
have to.
Yeah, by state statute, when you do blasting, you need to notify people within a certain radius.
Then they know that.
So,
Okay, good. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
okay. No real new violations to report other than somebody who put in a deck on their roof without permits. It's interesting, 3 years ago, they came in and asked Dan, then in my position, can we do this? He said, no, you'll need a variance. They said, yes, we'll file a variance. And then they just did the work anyway. So more to come on that, but it's not, that's sort of.
Where's that?
Or is that?
That's down at, I'll get you an address. I spaced on what property here it is here.
Can they see the sound?
Hmm?
Can they see the sound?
Yeah, they can see it. It's shoreline. Obviously, they did it to be on the shoreline. And again, because of the size of the lot, because of the flood zone, and everything else, they were told by Dan, no, you can't do it. And when I contacted them, they're like, oops, sorry about that. We'll file the application now. So,
Did that come from a complaint? How did that come across?
like, it came from the assessor's office because the assessor said, wait a minute, on my form here, it says they've got this roof thing. I'm looking in the permits. I don't see any permits for the roof thing. What happened? They've also apparently gutted the entire inside and redone it without any permits. That's not a zoning issue per se, unless there's flood zone issues. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of work that seems to have been done without permits being obtained. So more to come on that. Ledgelight's looking at it to see if there's another bedroom in there now. Probably not, but there's lots of further investigation on that.
Is it a single family dwelling or?
It is a single family dwelling. Yep, single family dwelling.
But you still need your building permit.
You still need-
And that's basic fire.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
No, I
I
mean,
just didn't know if it was like that huge hotel thing.
No, this is a single family dwelling, and again, they came to Dan and said, should we be able to do that? And Dan said, nope, can't do it, and they said, okay, great, and then
I gotcha.
then they did it. So, more to come on that. We're not there yet. We're just so far have a sort of basic inquiry letter going out to them saying, what are you doing? So, oral arguments, as you heard from Matt Willis, have taken place on 250 Shore Road. We're continuing to chase down the violation at Mile Creek that is in court right now, which you heard a little bit about last month as well.
Looks like they have a new car out there.
Yes, they have a new car. There's some barrels out there now. They tried to move stuff across the street, but that ended up getting taken away as garbage by the.
Do they own across the street?
Huh?
Do they own across?
Yeah, they own across the street as well. So they put some stuff across the street, but it was in the town right of way, so Public Works came and took it.
Oh my gosh, she probably lost her mind. That's unfortunate.
Look, I understand, but there we are. So there's that. I also know that we're rapidly sort of coming to the end of the school project. They uploaded 120 photographs of inside just in the last week or so. I know they have sort of a temporary CO, whatever, so they can operate on there, but they're still working on that site to try and get it complete. That's not a zoning violation, it's just an update on the fact that I know that they're frantically trying to get it finalized so they can get a final CO on that thing.
I noticed, are they doing the parking lot in 2 phases? Do you know?
Yeah, they had to get enough of the parking lot done to start school, but it's not complete yet. Yeah, there's more site work to be done there. There's a bunch of stuff that again needs to happen to get the final CO in place. So I have not been out there for my final inspection of it either. And there's a whole bunch of wetlands and other things going on as well. Again, more to come.
Question for you, just kind of unrelated to that, but also related to it. The sidewalk connection, which I know is not there, but would this commission review a sidewalk application if it would go from the cross lanes to the school?
Not usually, no. You don't usually get sidewalk applications of that sort. Usually those sidewalks are in the town right away, so it's not really something that is a private property application.
Got it.
And you don't usually.
I wasn't sure. That's what I was
so no, you probably aren't going to be seeing that. That's about all I've got for zoning enforcement, unless anyone has questions about zoning enforcement in any specific matters.
I saw that the Hallmark sign had moved from the fence to the, I don't know, but they had
They're
it
closed today, this last day.
They moved it all over.
Yeah, but I kept taking their stake signs.
So best.
I took about 7 of their stake signs. So they came back with a banner, which was also illegal, but then
Yeah.
it was close enough to the end of the season, I wasn't gonna.
Well, they actually moved the banner. I think it was on a vehicle or something. They moved it all over the place.
So, yeah,
They
again.
thought you were going to take it then.
I'm sure they kept, yeah. And the other one, and they told me it's gonna be gone by the end of this month, just up the street at Dan and Bill's.
Bill's,
Okay,
yeah.
they've got a bunch of stake signs there and a couple of
Flags.
flag signs. They always had the one flag sign, but I said, look, you gotta get rid of the rest of them. And they've promised by the end of this month that they will take out all of that down. So, but I mean, as I mentioned last time, I've been just pulling up the stake signs and,
They're storing stuff over on that cell phone lot again.
okay. I've gone by there a couple of times, and I've seen a couple of old cars, but I mean, it hasn't, I'll go back and take another look at it.
Yeah.
I do know that the antique store, whatever you wanna call it, that's at the intersection that you guys were talking about the other time, there is the, package store sign that's there, that's on that site if you drive by. And I did stop to try and take the package store sign.
Screwed in, you ain't
It
getting
is screwed in on both sides with with a drill. I mean, about 5 screws screwed in. So unless I go out there and
That's usually the DOT because they usually rip them down. So
Yeah.
right, because that's a state road.
it is a state
intersection.
road. So yes, theoretically DOT could do something about it.
But they usually do.
I stopped by to try and see if I could take it down, but it is screwed in with an actual drill on both sides, so I was unable to do anything about that particular sign. So, yeah, so exciting times for stake signs, what can I tell you? But I think as the summer comes to a close here, I'll probably have fewer stake signs. So there seems to be a proliferation of them now at the exit 70 off ramp there, so we'll see how that goes. Okay. Okay. Rewriting of zoning regulations. I did, as you probably saw, get back to you with the things that you said were sort of tabled issues. I also went back to Francisco with things he was going to work on. He emailed me back saying it was all very helpful. He would work on it. I tried contacting him last week to ask if there were any updates. He is on vacation through this week, so I don't have anything new to report back from him, other than to say, again, before he left on his vacation, he did say that all the comments we got to him were helpful, and he's looking forward to whatever the next batch is. I don't know if you guys want to schedule any future special meetings or how you want to handle working on the reg from here forward. The special meetings seem to be a good way to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it just gets too confusing. what to do.
So, I don't know what your pleasure is for scheduling special meetings, or if you want to think about that and get back to me, or how you want to handle that, but I think at some point we need to schedule another special meeting to make sure that we keep moving forward on this thing.
I think it's easier to schedule, we can always cancel.
Do you have a timeline for when Francisco's gonna get this next batch back to you so that we
I
can include that in the
don't,
special meeting?
he's not back till the 14th, I think, so he's not back until like next week. I will reach
He
out to
hasn't
him.
even confirmed receipt of the.
Oh, no, he has.
Oh, he has.
He did get back to me and said these are all very helpful.
God,
He'll
okay,
get
I'm
back-
sorry.
So I think we'll get comments back from him once he gets back from vacation, but that's not until next week sometime.
Should we review his comments before moving on to our next
I think
stage?
that's up to you. I would suggest, since you're gonna move to a different section anyway, that you just keep
Yeah.
rolling, and then if there are things we need to go back and catch, we'll go back and catch them. But I think we just need to set up a momentum here to move forward and try and pick up some more sections and move on those.
Yeah.
So we finished looking at all the use regulations last time, we went through, we.
With the use and definitions,
Definitions.
Did we do all the definitions? We got
you
all
know,
the-
you
No,
let,
we stopped
you
short.
stopped, you stopped
Okay, so
about
we need to
3/4
finish
of the
the
way.
definitions.
Yes.
And then we need to look at everything in red. And that
And
may,
blue.
and some of it may have done it, so I think if it's in the use,
Ready,
or if
blue.
it's in the definitions, but if it's someplace else in the document, we should look at everything that is in red or blue, maybe, if we can see the difference in
Oh,
color.
that's right. Yeah. Gotta wear your transition
The
line.
blue
I
is
know,
hard to
really.
see, yeah.
Yeah, that was, again, one of the comments I got back to him was very hard to see in paper, easier to see on the screen apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has that comment. Apparently, he will be adjusting the coloration so that that's not a problem going forward.
Or something, even though it's hard to read, it's not, you can see at least there's something different. Well, everything that is, in color. And then the other thing I had as a note, so I'm just saying what we need to work on. The other thing I had as a note was that look at everything that was eliminated and how is that marked? So how, if we know something was taken out.
You have it in the table in the back. He specifies.
Oh, okay, so we have to look at that table and see what was pulled out.
Yeah.
That's what I knew it was somewhere, but I couldn't remember. Okay, so look at table in the back. So that's what I have in terms of when he came in and spoke to us, the things we kind of wanted to do.
Okay. And what kind of timeline are we looking for a meeting on this?
Once we got going, if we,
Pretty quick once we start.
we went pretty quick. So we just get into it and just say like boom, 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 drilling down.
Okay.
I think.
Do we want to try and pick some dates here, folks? Is that?
That's okay.
Yeah.
I could hear you in 10 different ways asking for that question.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, I was just trying to figure if we need 1 or 2 meetings before we answered that, so that's all.
Well, let's start with one meeting and then see how far we got. I mean, we can always schedule more meetings. So let's at least get one on the calendar here and then go from there.
So he's gonna let us know on the 14th of October?
Well,
Yeah,
no,
I don't think that,
But it doesn't matter.
that's not gonna matter. 'cause
That's
we're
not
gonna
gonna
move
And
on to other
it's, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
and it's 14th of September is when he's getting back. He's getting back next Sunday. He'll be in next week. And so presumably I will hopefully get comments back from him next week. But I'm not sure that's going to matter for purposes of continuing to review the regs. So when do you folks think you want to hold your next special meeting?
Next week, do folks, I mean,
No, I can't do anything till October. I am gone.
I think September.
The week of-
Well, I take that back, I could do the night of the 28th, the week of the 28th.
Okay, so the 29th, 30th, that week there, 29th, 30th,
I could do that
first,
week.
second, third?
Yeah.
Is there anybody else who has thoughts about that?
the Monday, the 29th?
Monday's the 28th.
29th?
No,
Twenty-ninth.
it's the 29th.
Oh God, I'm in the wrong year, because I went to put this calendar in. Oh my God.
Wrong year, wow.
I
that's-
am in the wrong year, but I know I was busy in September, so,
Okay.
the 29th, yeah.
So 9/29 time?
I can't do it, but that, you guys go ahead.
Oh, you know what, actually,
You guys go ahead.
it doesn't work for me, I take that back.
Okay, well,
So
I-
Denise, you don't have any dates in September that work?
I don't, because I'm at a conference
What about the week of October 6th?
I'm in a conference next week, and and then I have a meeting with DEEP on it's a quarterly meeting, so it just happens to be at 6 p.m. on the 29th.
so let's look at the week
It
of
can be a
October.
Monday, it can be
No,
any day of
yeah,
the week.
no, the other days I can do at night.
Okay, so going back then to the week of the 29th, have it 30th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Well, 3rd is a Friday, so it's the 30th, 1st, 2nd.
Just a whole nother month.
Yeah, so wait, I'm sorry, Denise, the week of the 15th of September, you're not available at all, any day. I know the Monday doesn't work.
Yeah, those don't work.
And the week of the 22nd, Denise, no days of the week of the
No, because I'm helping my sister who had knee surgery. But you're saying, Denise, you don't have any? It's like, no, I don't.
Clarifying, because
I'm just saying I don't.
Okay.
I just said I don't have it. I would have answered.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's,
I'm excited.
okay, so
The
let's,
29th we were,
29th you can't do, so
I
let's,
said
okay.
I said I couldn't, but I can do it earlier.
Can you do it the
Let's do
30th?
Joe can be here, so.
October
You're
30th?
pretty
I can do the 30th.
Can we do it earlier in that day? If not, I'll.
On the
make it
30th?
happen.
Yeah, I just can't get over here.
I'm not
I
available.
can't get it till.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the 1st,
I can do, I can make the
First works.
30th happen if.
October 1st?
For everybody.
October 1 works.
October
Yeah.
1, at what
As long
time,
as
folks?
it's late enough in the day, I have a phone.
Well, it'll have
Okay.
to be after 6:30.
Well, 6:30, whatever.
6:30 better for you, right?
yes.
Okay,
later
so
is better.
how about 10/1 at 6:30?
Okay,
Soul. right?
Yes.
Wednesday is grandson day.
I know.
Okay. So we will set a special meeting for October 1st at 6:30 p.m.
Under 6:30.
Okay? Because Jane apparently says 6:30 is better for her.
It's
Anything
better for me
better.
too.
It's
I
just,
got
I
kids
get,
and all that
Same
stuff.
here.
I have to stop working. What a terrible thing. And then only 20 people are mad if it's 6:30 instead of 6.
Okay,
I
so,
work from home, but for a DoD contract.
okay, so,
So that's one.
next time, well, let's start with
Maybe
one.
like in the 20th.
Yeah,
Let-
because
let's-
then the week after that, we'll be back here and we can discuss the next one.
I can do multiple.
Well, I mean, you want to set another one between then and your next regular meeting, which is the following Monday?
No, I
No.
I'd
don't.
rather
No,
set
no.
one. No, I'd rather set one.
So
like
we'll
the
be at
20th.
the regular meeting and everybody will know their schedules better.
Right.
Okay.
So I think we
Okay,
should
so
just-
let's just set 10-1 and then we'll come back and sort out more after the next regular meeting then, okay?
Right.
So that leads us to,
Then people's schedules are gonna be filling up. Right?
I leave it to your folks' discretion.
I'm just wondering, like, so what is the rhythm we're looking at? Were you looking at for something in November, potentially?
Or
Or
later October.
Looks like one special meeting a month as we go forward.
Does it? Does anyone have a problem with it being earlier in the month?
Well, again, you're already doing 10-1.
No, I'm
so the
saying like
question is-
September 20th, somewhere around that
Well,
time frame.
Denise already said she couldn't do that.
I mean,
Let's go to the issues.
it's unfortunate.
So, just as someone who also travels for work quite a bit, like I would 100% protect a special meeting for the commission. And so if we could even tentatively identify a date in November, if we're gonna do it once a month, I think that would be helpful. But if people feel that there's no way they can plan 6 weeks out, then we don't.
That's fine.
I think if we're starting on October 1st, that there's a lot of territory there to put another meeting. I mean, it's the beginning of the month. I don't think we have to wait till November.
Well, again, you guys are meeting on the 14th, which is the second Monday, well, actually Tuesday, because it's Columbus Day.
Right.
Okay, so you've got any time after the 14th through the 31st to meet. If you want to meet rest of October,
And what's the meeting in November? What date is that?
meeting in November is going to be the 10th,
Okay, so
with 11th being Veterans Day.
So that'll be your last meeting next month, everybody.
Yeah, Election Day is the 4th, Veterans Day is the 11th, Thanksgiving is the 27th
What about meeting on the 20th?
of
October?
October.
Yeah. We're really
Also
trying
the 27th, yeah.
for,
Yeah, that works for me.
The 20th of the,
yeah,
yeah,
towards the end of October. That'll be 3 or 4 weeks after our last special meeting.
I like it.
Okay, 10/20 special
What day is
meeting.
that?
That's
Monday.
On the,
Does that work for you?
Yeah, 6:30.
Okay.
I mean, we can always obviously change it if we have to, but at least we've
Well, we don't need
got a commitment.
to put it in this clerk's office yet. So let's just put it in our calendar tentatively, and if we, if it looks like we need that date, we can fix it when we get to the 14th regular meeting, and at that point, we will put it on the calendar, okay?
Great,
and we
I
said
like that.
6:30 again.
6:30.
great.
Yeah,
Okay.
6 o'clock really messes us up.
Um,
Have it a different time, oh my God.
So that's that issue. Moving to
October 1st and October 20th.
regular meeting number 9, commission members' training hours. Again, I sent out last week the statute and the opportunities for Yukon Clear training. They do have, again, a number of, whole bunch of tapes that you can watch if you want to go back and watch some of the old stuff that they've done. Again, you have for new full commission members, you have a 4-hour requirement the first year you're a full member. And once you've done the full 4 hours the first year, it is 4 hours every 2 years thereafter. 1 hour must be affordable housing and 1 hour must be FOIA. So I do have a spreadsheet that has everyone's information that has given me so far. I did add your stuff in that you gave me. So if anybody has additional items that they've already done, great. If you choose to go and do any of the stuff that I've given you, I'm happy to put it on the spreadsheet. It's my obligation at the end of the year to turn the spreadsheet over to the first selectwoman, just detailing what we've done to be in compliance with the statute. There's no penalty right now for not being in compliance, but again, theoretically, we're supposed to all try and get that training in. If you want other training opportunities beyond the ones that I sent out to you on Friday, I'm happy to research other opportunities in the area. I know Old Saybrook and other towns have these training sessions because many of them share the same attorney we do, Matt Willis. So if I know that Matt is going to a nearby town to do some sort of training, I will make sure you guys are notified about it. And again, the other one, I know the town tends to do annually a FOIA seminar. So at some point during your tenure, you need to sit in for that hour so you get training for the FOIA credits. Okay.
Could you send us what we think we sent you?
Yes. I will let you guys
Okay,
know
thanks.
what you've already told me you've
Okay.
done, so you
Okay.
know more or less where you are.
All
I
right.
think you went to the all-day seminar.
I did, and the FOIA, but I just.
Okay.
I think the clear covered for you too.
There is a possibility to do it through Clear as well, but I'm specifically
Yeah, I'm just saying.
mentioning it because in the 4 hours, you need to make sure at least one of them is affordable housing and one of them is FOIA, so that you cover all your bases.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I think I'm pretty sure, I have to look at it, I think the clear covered FOIA, but they do not cover the affordable housing.
Yeah, they had
So that-
affordable housing
they-
at
Well,
Clear.
they did in the general one. that they
Oh,
had,
okay.
So you have to look in
And
very.
again,
Yeah, I looked at one
I gave
last
you a
year.
link to their sort of library of past ones as well. You can sort of dig through that library. I'm sure somewhere in there you'll be able to find an affordable housing one.
Yeah, there's
The one we
definitely
went to in February, the all-day one,
Yeah.
they provided an updated list of, and I'm gonna get the title wrong, but basically best practices. And I know those of us that signed up got a copy, and it's quite big. Did you get a copy for the town?
Yes.
Okay, because I just thought it would be worth folks that might want to see it to be able to get it and maybe look at it or.
Okay. Let me see what I can do to have that available.
Okay, otherwise I have my copy, I'm happy to bring that in too, but.
And we also again have a staffed copy of Michael Ziska's book, What's Legally Required as well. It's too expensive for me to order one for each of you, but we do have a copy here if you guys want to come in and take a look at Ziska's book as well.
So if you do any independent, like say that you take an hour and look through that, would that count?
Yes, you just gotta let me know what you've done. Again, the goal here is not to try and nitpick and say what counts or doesn't count. The goal here is to try and get you to do as much CLE work as you can.
Thank you.
Okay? That's about all I've got, folks. So, is there any other business to come before the commission here?
Very quick question, back to the hearing, is there any, if the applicants are gonna go try to find a path
Yep.
to restore it, is there any time limit on how long?
Now, the statute's now very clear. The statute now says, as long as you haven't abandoned it, which is irrevocably change it, you can discontinue it essentially indefinitely.
Oh, but worse, I just don't want to send them off on a wild goose chase if there's
No, I
some
mean,
other.
there have been like gas station cases where they have not used a gas station for 15 years, but they never took out the pumps. It just sat there as an unused gas station, and then they were able to claim, we always meant to reestablish it as a gas station, and we just temporarily discontinued it, and the
But the
statute.
fact that there's been a change in ownership,
No, doesn't count.
doesn't matter.
This is land use, remember, okay? We don't count change in ownership, it's a land use issue, okay?
And they're not gonna
So-
trip on the non-conformance.
Again,
Only for the
that's only accessory,
The accessory apartment.
yeah, that one, that's potentially problematic on that one.
Again,
However, but again, since the structure is there, I mean, under 813A, if the structure's there more than 3 years, I can't enforce against it. And again, it's been 50 years at this point in time, so I'm gonna assume that when they put it in, whatever permit requirements were there, they got, and if they didn't, I don't know what to tell you. But again, the issue of whether it was in fact used as an apartment in the entire space legally at that time is gonna be the tricky question to do, because as Mike pointed out, there's a very large garage door there. I mean, there's a lot of factual research that's going to need to be done.
Right, that's why I was, if there's any technicalities, you're gonna trip them before they go do all of that.
I mean, the example that
Be aware of it.
my former law partner, Mark Brantz, likes to give is, there was a former speakeasy that there were pictures of people who were drinking in this speakeasy during Prohibition, and they wanted to basically reestablish it as a bar. And the problem was, it wasn't a legal use of the property when they were using it, so therefore it couldn't be reestablished because it was never legally established. Okay, so again, they have to demonstrate that at the time the use was established, that it was established legally.
But does the whole thing have to have been an apartment or a dwelling? Couldn't it be a house with a garage attached,
Well, I mean, I guess they're asking for the entire space.
It's up to 800 square feet.
I mean, they're asking for the entire space now to be used as a dwelling.
Yeah.
So they're expanding the nonconformity at that point in time, right?
Well, but a regular house could have a garage underneath and it wouldn't be non-conforming.
Okay, but this would be a second full-time dwelling unit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so, it couldn't have been a second full-time dwelling unit in the zone.
It could have been. I don't know when the town started to enforce that idea that you had to have a separate, because I had on my property
I know other properties that
whole
have to.
bunches of different dwellings, but it was at a particular time, and I can't tell you when it was, that the town decided that no, each one of those dwellings needed to be on a separate lot.
Well, we'll go back and see what the regs say, but I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's possible that it can be another dwelling on the same
I mean,
property.
I own a property that has 2 dwellings on a
Yeah.
single individual lot.
Yeah, so
again, I don't want to sort of get too deep into the
No,
weeds
but
on a
I
pending
just-
application.
that's
But
why
again,
I said
So they know
what I
what
said.
they're working with.
But I mean,
Yeah.
again, the short answer is we will need to try and make sure that they can establish to my satisfaction initially, that they have a pre-existing non-conforming use of that building for a dwelling unit. And more to come on that, and we'll find out next month where they come out on that.
Because the 70s, they would have had a potential septic. They would have had a septic plan, potentially.
Yeah, but they didn't, this is shared septic.
No, I know that, even with the shared septic, though.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Have you looked in their file? Is there a file for the? I know they just expunged a
He
bunch
said
of
there
old
was nothing.
records.
So we haven't expunged anything. I mean, we've made them, we've put them all electronically, but I mean, honestly, we don't
Plans
have,
they got rid of.
yeah, plans, if you didn't take your plan back, we disposed of. But we have electronically scanned all of them.
You stand it all.
I mean, we just don't have the physical paper copies anymore. But our records of what zoning approvals were granted, up here at least, is not great from the 1970s, I'll be honest.
Right.
If it got recorded on the land records, great, it's gonna be in the meeting minutes, if we're gonna go back to meeting minutes. But as far as the actual records up here of what happened at the zoning commission in 1975, I gotta tell you, not great.
Yeah,
So,
I
okay.
done my fair research.
Since we're going backwards, I was trying to remember the details from the country club, why we asked them to not blast.
They proposed
And it
it,
had to do with the
The
cemetery.
cemetery.
But-
We're concerned about the cemetery.
and I think they
Right,
proposed it
but
too, they did.
didn't we also ask them to provide some kind of, they were gonna try and do some research
Yes.
into the cemetery and the potential for their blasting to have
But
any
they
impact.
proposed not to do blasting, it was our own proposal.
Right, but now that they're going to be doing the blasting, that's what's gonna be coming before us. The issue of the potential impact on the adjacent graveyard is going to come up again, right?
Yes, and they theoretically have been doing some of that research already, but I will get back to them and let them know that that's gonna be a commission concern going forward.
Yeah.
On the highway,
Looking
they
at a
just,
phase one after
there's
one.
like a cemetery right off the highway, right where they just did all that work. And like, it looks like they blasted like 3 feet from the side of the cemetery.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I mean,
just because it's on the record that we asked about.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking,
So-
to that point, if it does seem to not affect the, well, I guess we can't talk about it now, let's wait for the hearing.
well, let's not get too deep into the weeds on the pending
Yeah.
application, so,
It's
okay?
definitely less of an inconvenience than
Great.
So, need a motion to adjourn at some point here, and I have 7:49.
I'll make that motion. Can tonight.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 7:49, I'm turning off the tape, okay?